Hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome to another episode of Revived. Today, I'm here to talk about what spirituality is. I know it's been a little while since I've been on here, but I'm back and I'm here to just, talk about what it means to be spiritual. And I want to first go over some common misconceptions about what spirituality is. So, number one, you have to be perfect. You have to be fully spiritually ascended. False, not true. Number two, you have to be able to do tarot card readings, either on yourself or on other people. You have to go to a psychic medium to get a tarot card reading done on you. False, not true. Number three, you have to dress a certain way. There's a certain dress code that you have to abide by. You have to wear a colored robe. You have to wear a necklace with crystals attached to it. False, not true. Number four, you have to have a bunch of crystals laying around in your house. You have to have a bunch of candles lit up in your living room. You have to have an altar sitting in the middle of your alongside your hallway. False, not true. Number five, you have to quit eating meat. So no more steak or cheeseburgers for you. There are no requirements to becoming spiritual. The only requirements that you should worry about, if there are any, are your connection to yourself and your connection to God. Point blank. That's all you need to understand. You need to start to fully understand who you are on the soul level. You don't have to be fully aware. You don't have to be fully conscious, because those are very unrealistic expectations. That's something that takes years, decades, if not lifetimes to achieve. To be fully spiritually ascended first starts with you. And it starts with your relationship with God. And again, just because you're spiritual or you claim to be spiritual, it doesn't mean that you just completely change who you are and knock all of your addictive habits out the window, which is another subject that I want to talk about, is addictive habits. How they can actually be your best friend as opposed to being your worst enemy that wants to ruin your life or kill you. I'm going to talk about that in the next episode. But going back to what it means to be spiritual is just being somewhat aware of who you are and, what you might be unconscious of, what kind of positive traits lie within you. What kind of positive aspects of yourself can you name? What are some of the things that you really forget about all this, the external stuff that you criticize yourself about, or that you criticize others about, or that certain things that, like, you're just always putting yourself down for. You're always comparing yourself to other people. You always tend to be in this victim mindset of, other people just were dealt a better deck of cards than I was. I didn't have a good childhood. My parents hated me. I've just always been weird. I've never fit in. And other people just seem to hate me. That's another misconception about spirituality that I want to just go ahead and get out of the way, which is that in order to be spiritual, you have to put on this weird persecution complex. Living as such that you think that you always have a target on your back, because you are this ascended spiritual being, or you're this chosen one, as they like to call it, and people are just always looking at you weird, and people always hate you, and they will not invite you to parties, and you can never be fully accepted into society. And that actually can be true to a certain extent. It just comes with the territory. If you try to take a completely different path than everybody else, people are just going to look at you sideways for it, and they're not going to understand, because people have been so programmed and conditioned to believe a certain way, or to try to be a certain way, that they think that anything that stands out, anything that goes against what they were taught as children, or what they were taught to believe, they just, it's not that they are evil people, or that they hate you, or that they want to see you fail, which also can be true to a certain extent. There are just these weak, soulless energy vampires that want to see you trip and fall flat on your face, and that's the truth. But it's not the truth for the majority of people. The truth is, the majority of people aren't really aware, nor do they understand why you decided to go left and they decided to go right. I'm not in terms of like political affiliation. I'm talking about, well, you guys get it. But to like you don't have to feel as though you are the enemy of most people, or that most people are just not going to accept you, or that most people are just not going to love you, or that your parents will never accept you for who you are, or your family will never accept you for who you are, or these so-called friends of yours will never love and appreciate you or accept you for who you are. Because in terms of just looking at it through a spiritual lens, they just don't understand. They are completely brainwashed, and they just cannot take off the blindfold. They're stuck. And the worst part of it is they are afraid to get unstuck. They think that by following your lead, or that by or that by emulating you in some way somehow puts them at risk, or somehow puts them in danger. Because you have to realize that most people are very fear-driven people, especially people that are affiliated with any kind of religion. Religion is all fear-based. It's just a list of do's and don'ts, and it's very structured and to the point, and it's designed that way to get you to just live in fear your entire life. And most people, when they see somebody who is acting out of courage, somebody who is going against the grain and is actually putting themselves on full display, they They're just scared. Most people are very scared, easily frightened, easily manipulated people that either just don't understand yet, or maybe they do kind of understand, but they're not ready or willing to take that leap with you. And that's the truth. It's not a personal thing against you. It's just that that's the way that our society is structured right now. That's just the way that our society is built. Our society, or our world at large, is based around fear, the fear-based ego, which is also inspired by Satan. But no, there are no requirements. There's no secret password that you have to know or memorize in order to get into this tribe of spiritual people. One last thing that I want to touch on before I go ahead and sign off, because we're already at 11 minutes here. The difference between spirituality and religion, which is another subject for another video that I'm gonna do another day. The difference between spirituality and religion is that with religion, there's a bunch of rules. With spirituality, there are no rules. With spirituality, you can just come as you are. It doesn't mean that you can just do whatever you want and think that you can fuck somebody over, or that you can go and murder somebody and get away with it. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you can freely be who you are on the soul level, and you can first love yourself unconditionally, and the rest will follow. You will be able to love other people unconditionally, and they will be able to love you back unconditionally. And look, I know, I get it. Some of you guys have probably heard this before, that you have to first love yourself before you can love other people. Even though you have been hurt so many times, by your parents or by your ex-boyfriend or your ex-girlfriend, they cheated on you, and, you find it hard to forgive them. I'm sure that just the simple advice of, you just need to love yourself. I'm sure that just fixes you up right away and gets you healed. No, you can't just say that to somebody. You have to first teach them how to love themselves. Like, again, what are certain qualities that you really like or enjoy about yourself? Or, like what are you talented at? Like, what are you really good at? Or what did you really like doing when you were a child? Go all the way back to when you were 12 years old. I know it's not as simple as just love yourself, right? I mean, that's kind of like telling somebody, like telling a 15 or 16-year-old that is just trying to get their driver's license for the first time, that you just have to get in the driver's seat and just drive the car without teaching them how to drive the car. It's not going to work. They're going to crash into another car, or they're going to crash into, a couple of dumpsters on the curb. They might, it just doesn't work like that. You have to learn how to love yourself. And if you need somebody to teach you how to love yourself, or a community of people to help you, and a group of people around you that can help you do that, well then great. I really encourage anybody that to find their group or their tribe, or whoever's willing to sit and listen to them, to help them to love themselves, because we all need help. And that's what it really means to be spiritual. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I love you. I'll talk to you again soon.